Hello everyone, so today we'll talk about a library that can parse JSON data into a Java object. Okay, that's great. So the library we are gonna talk about is Async Http Client. That's the open source library created by someone. I can't really recall his name, so I'm sorry for that. And yeah, this is the most fastest JSON parser on Android. Uh, that's not my opinion. I have found on probably on the Stack Overflow that this is the most fastest one comparing to Retrofit or Volley. Volley is the most slowest one though. Okay, whatever it is. So just go for the build Gradle and implement the thing. That means you have to add the dependency. The dependency you need is the loopj android async http. Okay, that's great. Okay, and after that what I gonna talk about, okay, for parsing JSON we need an API. So the API I'm using today is this, which I managed to do through webs.com API beyond hello. Okay, that doesn't have any security. It is currently open and created by me. Okay, that's great. So if I just call that and then it's telling that okay, you are successfully connected, so you can change that category. Okay, not the category, probably the categories was the call. Yeah, so you can see we are getting the data. So actually we'll work with that today. So the first we have to create the model for the data. So you can see by calling any API you can get the form. So on every data there is a CID, CNAME, number of items. So yeah, you can go with this way, but there is alternative ways like creating fossils by using some sort of measure. Okay, let me get it out. Okay, probably where it is JSON, yeah. So yeah, there is a website called json to scheme to pozo.org. Okay, I'm going to show you how you can create something like that. You can create a pozo by using this uh, JSON file. So if you just paste it right in here, and you have to say that okay, the target language is Java and the source I'm using is the JSON. And okay, do you need any annotation? No, currently I don't need any annotation for that. If you are using retrofit, you probably will go with the annotation like Jackson or JSON. Probably the JSON is the most preferable one though. Yeah, use the double numbers including getter and setter. Yes, I need that. And do you need a constructor or anything else? Okay, so you can just read with them, and you can even create a builder method. So this is the most favorite thing for me. And then just previewing, we'll see that this is creating the poser for you. So this is great. You can create the whole poser by totally automatically, and I'm really a big fan of that. For using the retrofit, I'll always go with that. But for async, instead of that, I try to follow something like generate poser from JSON. This is a plugin, and you have to just put a file in here, then give it a name like ADZ or blah, 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 whatever it is. But this name's really meta, though. Okay, so this is almost same. You understand that you can give any name as you want. So if I say category root, yeah, if you go with this sort of thing, you need to have the root, and this is mandatory for to have a root. So just creating that, and you'll see, yeah, you can see that is created two class for me. The first one is the root, which actually holds the access and you'll find a simple error right there if you go with that, and that is because of an annotation. You have to add an annotation right on the build title that okay, I don't really remember that, but I will provide this annotation with this video now, because today we will go with the very simple thing. So I will not create use any sort of project creator, and yeah, there is another plugin this can really create poser object or poser class without using root. So this is probably the poser to class, and by using this sort of poser to class you can create a single class like me. So though I have created these things by myself, it's a very easy thing. So you can see right, uh, I for the category, as I have seen that, and I have a CID, CNAME, and number of items. So I have just used that CID, not the CM. I use the title. Instead of number of item, I use the get number of items. So it doesn't matter. You have to just be careful the things are all right in here, because if you are using the poso, then this name would be the same as you have seen right in here. Okay, so then I have created some constructor and just some getter. That's all. And yeah, I'm using actually two API calls for that, and this says the wishes. This is another one that has only the wishes, integer ID, and the title, or I name it as heading. So that's it. All over the model. This is totally. I don't think this is really worth to talk about the model supposers, because this is nothing to worry with async. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I wanna create an interface. The interface I wanna create because I want to carry my data by using an interface. If you are really used to with the Java, and you always know that interface is the most preferable thing you can ever imagine. So yeah, I have also created an interface. Though this is not mandatory, but this is a good use to use the interface, something like that. Okay, so the interface I have named as JSON HTTP task complete listener. I named it a little bit bigger because that should really express something. Okay, so that is expressing that the JSON HTTP task, that means the async, that from the async HTTP task, and the complete listener. That means when the async task, or the async library of our will complete fetching the JSON, and when the task will be completed, then this listener will be in work. Okay, that's why I named it something like that. I know this is pretty bit odd, but it should be okay for someone like me. Okay, then the most important, or the heart of the Async HTTP client class. Okay, so library, sorry. So for implementing this library, the heart of this library is this class. Okay, so you can see this is a pretty simple class. I didn't extend anything or implement any interface or in here. This is so simple. Okay, so and now I'm creating the first instance for this class. This is the this is actually the declaration async HTTP clients, and then for fetching data, as you know, for fetching any API data, you need to pass some sort of parameters. For example, let me category one probably. I don't really remember. That's the issue. This work. No, it's not working though. Category CAD is equal to 1. I hope it works this time. No, it's not working. Categories. I don't really. Okay. So I get it. Now around. So just give me a moment. Net to access to the API references that you have. Okay. So instead of categories, okay, I will show you with the wishes. So that should, and that should be WID. ID add. Oh my God, what's happened? Nothing's. Oh, not the wishes. Come on, don't be so silly. So you can see by using these wishes, I can really get a single value, and for that I use some parameter. So this is also known as a request parameter. So for parsing any data from the JSON, you need two things. First, the host and the path. Sometimes though, this is also known as the host, the whole thing. Sometimes they told as the host and path together as a host, and query parameters differently, or blah, 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 blah. I hope you understand. So this is all we need to pass. So by using the request parameter, we'll pass the parameter. In this case, we were passing WID, that means the which ID is 1. And then as I have already told you, maybe you have seen in retrofit we had used only to this, because retrofit does need to know the path and host differently, or what are called. Okay, they need to know that specifically which one is host, which one is path. But for async, we don't need it to know which one is host, which one is path. So I'm using this as my whole host, or the base URL. So they don't know what is host, which is path. So they only know which is the base URL. Then after that, I have just declared my interface right in here. So this is very simple. Okay, so I will declaration for async is http client. Yeah, so I hope this would be helpful when I will get a link of this GitHub. So that's right, and then yeah, declaration for async is http client, then the request params declaration. So I'll say something about request param right in here. So request params are the parameter parameter that that we pass into our API. Okay, so then the base URL or the host along some sort of path. So I know this video is getting bigger, and instance of my interface. And then now you can see I have created a constructor. Maybe I should tell that constructor of this class. So in this constructor, I'm actually passing my interface, and I hope you understand why I am passing, because I'm actually making this class as by considering the dependency injection. So that's why I'm passing that, and on the constructor you can see I am only initializing or creating the instance of the request param and the request parent, because I don't need this object outside of this class. Okay, so these things are really created in here and Json here. So okay, I'll say as this to my shit this to instance don't need to okay, I'll say instance creates in here and dies in here as well. So as this is what has the result. So and now we are done with the constructor, and this time I'm creating a method. So you can see I'm actually creating a method, and this is also this is not some fancy method. This is a very simple method. You can see right in here that is taking some sort of parameter, and the first I will tell about the method name, tell about some sort of this method name. So the name of this method, you can see the execute JSON HTTP response. So why I named it something like this? Okay, because this method is responsible for executing the JSON HTTP calls. Okay, do you understand? Okay, you will understand. So I'm using some parameter like the URL, and I'm name it as URL, because in async you can see right here I have just a pass URL that is not actually the full of it. So from this part is really common for the both of this the call I had before and now. So this part is always common. So you can see this part is always common. That's why I named it as base URL, and in this method on the first parameter, I'm putting another string and I named it as SAR-URL, because this SAR-URL will hold the rest of the part of the total URL. Okay, do you understand? I hope you are. So we have actually divided the whole URL into two parts. The first, the base URL that is common for every single call, and the SAR URL, the part of URL that is changing for every single call. And then I'm providing a hash map, and I named it as params. Okay, so what is that actually? So this is what takes as a this is what actually pass the parameters for the API. I hope you understand. So for example, as you can see, this part is the parameter. Okay, which part do you need? Okay, this doesn't have. So if your call is something like that, so it doesn't have any parameter. Okay, so your whole base URL would be this part and the SAR URL would be this part. But what if you have a parameter? Okay, so if you have a parameter, your base URL is only this part and the SAR URL is SAR URL is this part and the parameter is this. So yeah, and you can see right in here the parameter has two parts, the key and the value, and that's why I have used the hash map, not the anything else, because that holds the two things: the first the key and the second the variable value. The value can be sometime string, integer, long, whatever it is. Object will control pretty much everything, so I have used that. And then I'm actually mapping the entry, or by using this for loop, I'm putting a value on the request param, because I can't really pass the hash map right into the request call. So I have to first convert this hash map into a request param. And all I did this because I want this class dependent or independent. Sorry, my mistake. I want this class independent. I don't want to make a connection with the main activity. If you are really concerned about the design pattern, some sort of like that, and as you know, the view model and the controller, or if it's a presenter, that should be always they don't should view and the model or the presenter not should be connected together. Okay, something like that. So that's why this sort of thing I always wanted to make them isolate. That's why I created some sort of things like that. Because if I pass that the request parameter right in here, that does need to implement when I need to create the object or need to call this method, I had to create an object of request param first, then I need to pass that, and that would be a total nightmare. So that's why I just use a hash map. I hope you understand. And then okay, before that I need to this method execute http call. Okay, yeah, I hope this show. And okay, I'll talk about the base URL and SAR URL. So I'll set this URL the sorry sorry URL total API. Before that, I hope I need to add this. Yeah, that should work. So total API URL is equal to this URL plus star URL. So I'll say the part of URL which is fixed or not changing, whatever you say. The part of URL which is dynamic. Okay, that's great. And then params for passing the parameters with the call. Okay, so yeah, I'm really done with that, and I hope everybody will understand what I'm doing right in here. And then right in here, I'm actually doing the whole thing. I'm now adding both of them by using the concatenation. And after that, the async http client, and this is the first call we are doing from the async http client. It's the only method that's handles pretty much everything they had. So async http client, the client we have created and instantiated by the constructor. Okay. Async http client dot get if your request is get. So I have to say that as my request is get. So as my request is get, I'm using .get, then I have to give the URL, then the request parameters, and then I'm calling for this new JSON respond handler. So you can see this is, what is that? So they are telling that probably some sort of handling abstract class. Okay, so we are really creating an instance of this abstract class, and by which we are getting this sort of yeah, there is a lot of way you can play with by using if you go to the I think it's HTTP client website, you will get a lot of reference how you can make this call. But I'm using JSON HTTP response handler because this is the most easiest way to go with. And yeah, and you can see there I have called for I have overridden two methods right in here, the on success and on failure. You probably thinking that okay, that's so easy, they should be created automatically. No, they will not create will be created automatically. You have to create them by yourself. For example, if I call for on success, again you can see they're providing still two of them are left right in here. The one okay, so I wish I could really okay. So okay, so there is a lot of way. For example, I'm telling you that as if you are looking for a JSON object as the result, then you should call this on success method. And if you looking for some sort of response like retrofit, then you probably will call, okay, I'll call all of them and then just like that should be great. Yeah, so this is actually providing a JSON array. So if you want your result as an array or as an array list, so in that case you probably go with the JSON array. But in my case, I'm really pretty used to with the JSON object, because I have used the JSON object, but you can go with anyone. And there is just another one, I hope. Yeah, the response, the response is string. This is almost like a retrofit. If you are used with the retrofit, you have seen that retrofit pass the result or the response result by this string like this. Okay, so yeah, I hope you understand. And on the same thing you can find for object array as well as the string. So that's great. So we are done pretty much. Now here is a line of mystery. You may think like that. No, this is pretty simple. So in here what I'm doing, I'm getting the instance. Okay, so I'm getting the instance, then I'm calling for the on task completed. So which is this? So this is the method I have declared on my interface. So on task completed, and as we know, if you are really used to with the interface, you are already know that this is the way we put the value into the interface. Okay, and by implementing the interface we get the value. Okay, I'll help you. We are pushing. Okay, also pushing, this should be fine. Pushing the value into the, oops, not that, so now into the interface to convey. Okay, that's great. So yeah, and the value I'm actually sending from here is hot. You can see I'm not sending the response. So what I am actually doing right in here is yeah, so you can see I'll get the value as a JSON object. This is just like this. Oh my god, so do we really was looking for something like that? I don't think so. We were looking for something like that. We're actually, so this is all what we are getting as a JSON object. Now by using the JSON data factory, this is not a fancy factory by Async Http. This is also created by me. I'm going to describe that within a sec. And a method, this is also from me, and which this method is actually converting the JSON data and putting this data into the format as our model or the puzzle. So we are pretty much done. That's great. And then as if we get the puzzle, then we can show them. So you can see that's why I'm actually getting the result as an array list, because sometimes the result can be a single model. Okay, sometimes the result can be a multiple model, like a lot of categories like this. So you can see a lot of categories, and if I just search for the C81, then I will get a single categories. And I use the what question mark because I want this same interface method for using the both model. If you have multiple ons, so you can just go with multiple ons, so that should be fine. I hope you understand why I am using this sort of factors right here. And now we'll go for the Json Factory, which is converting the things under hood. So this class will convert JSON data into array list according to the models. So that's right. So first, okay, so okay, I'll talk about this. Both are same. So you can see this is a static method, as you have already seen that right in here. We don't have to create a new object for that. We can just call the method by using the static format. Yeah, because I don't really need the thing object for this because I'm not reusing this. Okay, so yeah, the static and that must return array list of the model. That's why I am giving that. And as we don't know which one will be the model, I'm using the what right in here. And I'm saying, okay, the model name is from JSON to wishes model. That means from getting the JSON object for the object that is passing through this. Okay, that means the response. And though I called it response, but this is a JSON object. So it is actually parsing or actually converting the JSON object into the wishes model. There is that. Okay, so just go with that, and I'll describe pretty much every line right in here. Okay, this method converts the JSON data into a total list. A list is plural. Okay, that's great. So you can see first we are converting. Okay, first we are actually declaring array list of wishes model because we are gonna convert the data into wishes households list. Okay, and then we are first getting the length, how much of the that means actually I was going to tell that uh, the length of the array. Okay, so in this case I'm sorry to say that you need to know the name of this. Okay, so they are the tables, as you know, so you need to know the array name, and there is the array name. You can see, so this is the array, this is the array name, so you get it from here, the array name, and this is the size of the array 28. So I'm getting the first array size, and after that using a for loop, and by using this for loop I'm actually putting or adding the data models into my list. By how? You can see right here I'm creating, every time I'm creating an object of wishes data model, and as you know the wishes data model need the constructor. This the constructor is that does need the ID and heading for creating an object, and that's what I am passing right in here. Passing for the ID, and for the ID I need to go for the JSON array, which is then JSON object position. That means the object position, then the the parameter name. Okay, so I'll show that. For example, if I want to get this ID, okay, so I need to first go to the JSON array, then I need to go to the the number of the array or the array position. In this case this is 0, and then I will go for the name of the JSON object, and this time this is the CID, and in this case this is the WID, and this is I am using different one. So I hope you understand how to parse this thing, and after that I'm actually returning the model array, and if I had any problem I can just guess the problem, or I can throw that. And the same way I'm using this data model, the category, you can see the same thing. I'm first creating a list, then I'm getting the length, and then I'm adding the data into the list by creating the offsets of for each of them, blah blah blah. This is awesome. I hope you get it. So this is all about async HTTP. So now the only thing left is getting the result from the models, and I hope this is you can do by closing your eyes. And this is what I am doing. So I am creating the object of my class, not the async class, you can see. And yeah, I am also creating a hash map object instance, and I am implementing my JSON HTTP tags complete listener, because this is the view class and I don't want to make a connection with the view class to the model. That's why I am using that. And right in here you can see I'm actually calling for actually making an instance of the JSON HTTP task, and the JSON HTTP task does need only the interface. You can see right in here it does need only the interface, and as I have already implemented the interface in this main activity, so I can just click write this, and this will convert into JSON HTTP tags complete listener. And as I implement this, I will obviously get the on task completed method overridden, and by this parameter I'll get the result. So the result I'm having is I'm actually not using this result into any array list or something like that, as I am just showing that result into a toast. So I hope you understand. And yeah, and right in here everything is same. So if I want to create the result for this model, I'll create only this method. So just JSON HTTP tags dot execute JSON HTTP response categories comma params. So I hope you understand. If you don't, okay, I will help you. So if you are looking for the whole categories result, for this case I want to skip that. If you want to get this, so as you know, this is the base URL, so we don't have to worry about that. But C URL we are passing through the execute JSON HTTP response, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh shit, every time I'm just clicking on that shit. Okay, so execute JSON HTTP response. So yeah, so I have to pass that URL right in here. That's why I'm passing the categories and the params. If it does have a param, I will pass the params right in here. If it doesn't have that, so I have to pass any. That's why. But as I have just initially declared that, so yeah, I can really use it non-null or something like that. But I have figured out, instead of using that, I can just pass a empty hash map. This will also work like this. So it is working like this. So no parameter, though there is a parameter, but no name, no value. That means it is not considering. So this is something like that. And on the next one, you can see, oh shit. In the next one, I'm actually passing something, and in this case I'm using this method, So this is a way you can call that. So if you already know about this way, this is code. So we can really pass the okay, let me show you. There is some way we can pass the thing with the URL, or the pass the parameter with the URL. In this case, you get the result. So you can see I'm getting the result for this. And there is another way. So just press WID and then O, and I hope this is wish at the time. So you can see this is also the same result, and they're running here. Okay, maybe okay, wishful, that's fine. Yeah, you can see I'm getting the same result for the wishful. So you can write the params right in here, and it really depends on your API, as this API is a really flexible API created by me, so I have used pretty much everywhere I can go with. So does I okay, I'll write them both in here. uh, in here I need to just call for the params is dot put, so I'll put WID 4, and this will work for me. So I have put at this time some value with this param, and both of them should work just same. So this is all about Async Http Client, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video.